Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel, The Loophole. The financial illusion that keeps the world obedient. This video discusses economic systems and their psychological effects on populations. There's a piece of paper in your wallet right now that has no real value. Yet you'll trade hours of your life for it. You'll fight to keep it. You'll even go to war over it. What if I told you the entire global economy runs on a collective agreement to believe in something that doesn't actually exist? Money as we know it today stopped being tied to gold in 1971. Before that moment, every dollar represented actual gold stored in a vault somewhere. After that moment, it represented only a promise. A promise backed by nothing but trust in governments and central banks. This shift created what economists call fiat currency. Money that exists because a government says it does. Today, over 7 billion people participate in this system without questioning its foundation. The implications of this arrangement shape every aspect of modern life, from how long you work to whether you can afford a home. The story begins in 1944, in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Delegates from 44 nations gathered to redesign the global financial system after World War II. Bretton Woods Agreement, 1944. They agreed the US dollar would be the world's reserve currency, backed by gold at $35 per ounce. Other currencies would then peg their value to the dollar. This system worked until it didn't. By the late 1960s, the United States was printing more dollars than it had gold to back them. The Vietnam War and expanding social programs drained reserves. Foreign governments, especially France, started demanding their gold back. On August 15, 1971, President Richard Nixon appeared on television and announced America would temporarily suspend the dollar's convertibility to gold. Nixon shock. August 15, 1971. He called it temporary. That suspension never ended. Within 2 years, most major currencies were floating freely, backed by nothing tangible. The 1970s brought immediate consequences. Inflation surged across Western economies. Oil prices quadrupled. Workers saw their purchasing power evaporate despite earning the same wages. Bureau of Labor Statistics, inflation data, 1971 to 1979. Yet the system didn't collapse. Instead, it evolved into something new. Central banks gained unprecedented power. They could now create money through keyboard strokes, expanding and contracting the money supply at will. This ability proved useful during crises. It also proved dangerous during periods of excess, according to the Federal Reserve's own data. The U.S. money supply has expanded by over 400% since 2000. Federal Reserve Economic Data, M2 Money Stock. The European Central Bank reports similar patterns across the Eurozone. This expansion doesn't mean printing physical cash. Most new money exists only as numbers in digital accounts. Research from the Bank for International Settlements indicates that roughly 90% of all money in circulation today was created through bank loans, not government mints. BIS Annual Report, 2023. When you take out a mortgage, the bank doesn't lend you someone else's deposits. It creates new money by making an entry in a ledger. Economic historians note that every major civilization that debased its currency eventually faced economic turmoil. Reinhardt and Rogoff. This time is different. 2009. The Roman Empire diluted silver content in its coins. The Weimar Republic printed money to pay war debts. Zimbabwe printed trillion-dollar notes in 2008. Each case followed a similar pattern of initial relief followed by devastating inflation. Some economists argue the current system is more stable than the gold standard ever was. They point out that the gold standard limited government's ability to respond to economic crises. During the Great Depression, countries that abandoned gold first recovered fastest. Eichengreen and Sachs. Exchange rates and economic recovery in the 1930s. 1985. Modern monetary theory proponents suggest that sovereign governments can never run out of money they can print. They argue inflation only becomes a problem when resources are fully employed. Critics counter that this thinking ignores the historical record and incentivizes reckless spending. There's genuine disagreement about whether the current system serves ordinary people or primarily benefits those closest to the money creation process. Data on wealth inequality shows mixed patterns that economists interpret differently based on their theoretical frameworks. The effects of this system touch every household in subtle ways. A dollar today buys what 23 cents bought in 1971 Bureau of Labor Statistics CPI calculator. This means if your grandparents bought a house for $30,000 in 1970, that same house would need to cost over $200,000 today just to maintain the same real value. Young adults now face a reality where their parents could work a summer job to pay for college, while they graduate with decades of debt. According to federal education data, the average cost of college has increased by over 200%, beyond inflation since 1980. Meanwhile, wages for entry-level workers have remained relatively flat when adjusted for purchasing power. Retirement savings face a similar squeeze. People on fixed incomes watch their nest egg shrink in real terms even as the nominal numbers stay the same. The promise of a secure retirement, once achievable through simple savings, now requires sophisticated investment strategies that most people lack the expertise to navigate. Think of the current monetary system as a slow-motion transfer of wealth. Every time new money enters the system, it flows first to governments, banks, and large corporations who can borrow at low rates. They spend this money at yesterday's prices. By the time this new money reaches ordinary workers through wages, prices have already adjusted upward. This isn't a conspiracy. It's a structural feature of how money creation works when decoupled from physical constraints. Those closest to the creation point benefit first. Those furthest away pay through inflation. The system maintains stability through belief and enforcement. People accept paper money because others accept it, and because governments demand tax payments in that currency. Legal tender laws make it illegal to refuse national currency for debts. This creates a closed loop where the illusion becomes reality through collective participation. We know that modern money is created through debt, not backed by tangible assets. We know this system has transferred purchasing power over time from workers to asset holders. We know central banks now wield power that kings never possessed. What we don't know is whether this arrangement is sustainable long-term, or if we're simply in the middle of a very long experiment. The question isn't whether the system works. It clearly does for now. The question is who it works for and what alternatives might exist. Several scenarios appear likely in the coming decade. High confidence, central banks will continue to expand money supplies during economic crises. Following patterns established since 2008, this will likely drive continued asset price inflation, benefiting property and stock owners while challenging renters and wage earners. Asterisk, asterisk. Medium confidence, asterisk. More countries will explore digital currencies issued directly by central banks, potentially increasing government control over monetary transactions. China has already launched a digital yuan trial. The European Central Bank is developing a digital euro. Asterisk, asterisk, low confidence, asterisk. A major shift away from dollar dominance could occur if rival economic blocs develop alternative systems. This would fundamentally reshape global trade and power dynamics, but faces enormous coordination challenges. The most probable outcome is gradual evolution rather than dramatic collapse. Systems this entrenched change slowly, with periodic crises accelerating adjustments. The greatest trick ever pulled wasn't making something disappear. It was making nothing appear as something. and convincing 8 billion people to spend their lives chasing it. If this made you think differently about your wallet, watch next: Why Poverty is Manufactured, Not Natural. It explores how economic systems create the outcomes we often assume are inevitable. Source notes and disclaimer. This video synthesizes economic history from academic sources, including Federal Reserve publications, Bank for International Settlements reports, and peer-reviewed economic research. Financial systems remain subject to ongoing policy changes and expert debate. This video presents historical patterns and established economic concepts for educational purposes, not financial advice. Data and interpretations reflect information available as of the production date and may evolve as new research emerges.